So a lot of people have been speculating about the true parentage of Jon Snow, and could somebody turn this music down? So I don't have a lot of time because the episode is tonight and I really want to get this point across. When we think about Robert's rebellion, obviously we know that Rhaegar Targaryen was married to Elia Martell. You raped her! You murdered her! That's all I can ever think of when I hear that name. And for some reason he fell in love with that Wolf of the North, Lyanna Stark. And during the tourney in Harrenhal, he went right past his wife and gave that bouquet of blue roses to Lyanna Stark.
Your Aunt Lyanna.
My father never talked about her. Sometimes I'd find him down here lighting the candles. He said she was beautiful.
I saw her once. I was a boy, living with your mother's family. Lord Went held a great tourney at Harrenhal. Everyone was there. The Mad King, your father, Robert Baratheon. And Lyanna, she was already promised to Robert. Well, you can imagine what it was like for me, a boy from nowhere, with nothing to his name, watching these legendary men tilting at the lists. The last two riders were Barristan Selmy and Rhaegar Targaryen. When Rhaegar won, everyone cheered for their prince. I remember the girls laughing when he took off his helmet and they saw that silver hair, how handsome he was. Until he rode right past his wife, Elia Martell, and all the smiles died. I've never seen so many people so quiet. He rode past his wife, and he lay a crown of winter roses in Lyanna's lap, blue as frost.
And at some point, now this is what we don't know, he kidnaps her or he runs away with her, and she ends up in the Tower of Joy in Dorne. And her guard there, or her captor, depending on how you want to look at it, is Sir Arthur Dayne. Now, House Dayne is a very powerful house. They were bannermen of the Targaryens in Dorne. And when we see, a few weeks ago, young Ned come to the Tower of Joy, that was the very end. It was the final battle of Robert's rebellion.
Where's my sister?
I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. And now it begins.
No. Now it ends.
Right there, you hear the screaming, so it's obvious now. Book people already know this. You probably already know all of this, the whole R plus L equals J angle.
What's in the tower?
That's enough for one day. We'll visit again another time.
I want to see where he's going.
Time to go.
But us show people, this is pretty new to us, and we're still kind of working out what to believe and what to think. And I think the exciting part, the point of this video, is that the show is going to finally address this in advance of the books, which is pretty cool. So what I think is going to happen is that Ned goes up into that tower, and he finds his sister dying, obviously from childbirth, and that is where he makes the promise to her to not reveal the baby's true parentage, which is, of course, it's the child that was born between Rhaegar and Lyanna. And that would make, basically, Jon Snow is really Jon Targaryen. So it's really exciting that the show is going to deal with this, and we're actually seeing the Tower of Joy. I think this is beyond anyone's expectations. When the show went beyond the books, people knew this kind of thing was going to happen, but to have it addressed this early, people who haven't been paying attention might not have picked up on this, but it's well known by book people that this is a theory that it's been kind of going around the internet. Just search for R plus L equals J. And it's gone from a few years ago being like a tinfoil hat kind of conspiracy theory to pretty much accepted that this is, if not the truth, this is a very, very strong theory.
How many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt?
Yes, he chose her. And then he kidnapped her and raped her.
when we think about, was Lyanna raped, or was she, was it a consensual act between her and Rhaegar? It's very up in the air. The story that Bran seems to believe is that Rhaegar forced himself on her. But what we know of Rhaegar, he was an upstanding guy. He would sing and he was generous. He would donate to charities. And it's arguable that he was just in love with her. And it was just this romance that neither one of them could resist. Maybe he was a little pushy about it. But I very much don't think that she went to the Tower of Joy against her will.
I was thinking about all the times your brother made me go with him down from the Red Keep into the streets of King's Landing.
Why?
We liked to walk among the people. We liked to sing to them.
He sang to them?
Yes. Rhaegar would pick a spot on the Hook or the Street of Seeds, and then he'd sing. Just like all the other minstrels.
And what did you do?
I made sure no one killed him. And I collected the money. Well, he'd like to see how much he could make.
He was good?
He was very good. Viserys never told you.
He told me Rhaegar was good at killing people.
Rhaegar never liked killing. He loved singing.
And what did you do with the money?
Well, one time he gave it to the next minstrel down the street. One time he gave it to an orphanage in Flea Bottom. One time we got horribly drunk.
My feeling is that it was consensual and that Jon was not born of rape, that he was the product of this romance. And unfortunately, it started Robert's rebellion and ended the Targaryen dynasty. So Rhaegar couldn't have seen that coming.
Did you have to bury her in a place like this? She should be on a hill somewhere with the sun and the clouds above her.
She was my sister. This is where she belongs.
She belonged with me. In my dreams, I kill him every night.
It's done, Your Grace. Targaryens are gone.
Not all of them.
When you think about Jon Snow, and, if, let's say this isn't true, and you believe the story that Ned Stark went to a brothel, that's not in character for him. He's much too honorable for that, and I have a hard time believing that, and so did King Stannis.
Good.
Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
And bastard by some tavern slut.
Perhaps, but that wasn't Ned Stark's way.
And Ned, to bear the weight of this false accusation, to have Catelyn think this of him. Jon was born basically the same month as Robb Stark, so to think that he had his wedding vows, went to war, and immediately went to a brothel, I don't buy that at all.
17 years ago, you rode off with Robert Baratheon. You came back a year later with another woman's son.
Yours was, Alina? No, you told me once. Meryl? Your bastard's mother.
Wyler.
That's it. She must have been a rare wench to make Lord Eddard Stark forget his honor. You never told me what she looked like.
Nor will I.
We were at war. None of us knew if we were going to go back home again. You're too hard on yourself. You always have been.
I could see after years and years and years of war and, thinking he was never going to come back alive, could he have found that kind of comfort? Most men, yes. Ned Stark, still, I don't think so.
What was the name of that bastard he fathered?
Brienne?
No, that wasn't it. Snow. Bastard from the north. Now, when good old Ned came home with some horse baby, did you pretend to love it?
At one point, Ned Stark does say, you may not have my name, but you have my blood. He doesn't say, you are my son. You have my blood, because he does have Stark blood inside him. If he was Lyanna's son, then he would be a Stark.
It was great honor serving in the Night's Watch. The Starks have manned the wall for thousands of years. And you are a Stark. You might not have my name, You have my blood.
Is my mother alive? Does she know about me, where I am, where I'm going? Does she care?
The next time we see each other, we'll talk about your mother. I promise.
What's my name?
Jon Snow?
And why is my surname Snow?
Because you're a bastard from the north.
I never met my mother. My father wouldn't even tell me her name. I don't know if she's living or dead. I don't know if she's a noblewoman, or a fisherman's wife, or a whore.
I don't think Ned's his father. I think it's Rhaegar Targaryen, and that was a clever way of Ned to not lie to Jon, but to tell him, what he needed to know, that he does have Stark blood inside him, and, what he put Catelyn through all those years, it must have been really hell for a guy like Ned Stark.
Jon Snow. When my husband brought that baby home from the war, I couldn't bear to look at him. I didn't want to see those brown stranger's eyes staring up at me. So I prayed to the gods. Take him away. Make him die. He got the pox. And I knew I was the worst woman who ever lived. A murderer. I'd condemned this poor, innocent child to a horrible death. All because I was jealous of his mother. A woman he didn't even know. So I prayed to all 7 gods. Let the boy live. Let him live. And I'll love him. I'll be a mother to him. I'll beg my husband to give him a true name. To call him Stark and be done with it. To make him one of us.
And he lived.
And he lived. And I couldn't keep my promise. And everything that's happened since then. All this horror that's come to my family. It's all because I couldn't love a motherless child.
So you've got to believe that he took the blame to protect the child. That promise to his sister that he made was the last thing that he could do for her. He couldn't save her life, so the only thing he could do for her was to make this promise and to protect her son. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about Jon Snow. Is Lyanna Stark his mother? Is Rhaegar Targaryen his father? When the Three-Eyed Raven finally lets Bran go up into the Tower of Joy, is he going to find newborn Jon Snow? Thanks again.
We had a 3-hour talk. At the very end of it, George said, okay, who is Jon Snow's real mother? And there was a very long pause, and I looked at Dan, and Dan looked at me, and we threw out a guess. And he didn't say yes or no, but he sort of nodded, and, and then he let us take the show.
Who is Jon Snow's real mother?
This is Snow.